Hi everyone, good evening and welcome back. Wow, that was a quick countdown for me. I changed to 10 seconds and I just didn't realize it was over so quickly. So today, as you can see in the title, I'm talking about the real estate market and which types there are. Just wanted to jump in and let you know the different types there are because, you would hear news saying it's, balanced market, buyer's market, and seller's market. And, what does that really mean and how do we determine what kind of market it is, right? And so today I just want to give you some information to clear that up. So we're going to talk about the different types of markets. So here we go. All right. So what market are you in? Well, let's just figure out what each market means by how we determine each market, and then we can figure out which market we are currently in. So today is May 17, and so the market that I'll be talking about would be, reflecting what it is today, right? So what market are we in? Balanced market. So as you can see here, a balanced market means there is 1 out of 4 to 5 home that sells. So every time you see like 4 to 5 lawns for sale sign on a lawn, and one of them sell, then that would mean we're in a balanced market. So there's not like more buyers than sellers. There's not more sellers than buyers. We're just in a balanced market. It's not neither a buyer or a seller's market. So let me see if I can move to the next slide here. Let's see here. No, I don't know how to move to the next slide. 1 second. So here we go. So next slide here. So here is what it looks like if we were in a seller's market. So what does it mean if we're in a seller's market, and how do we determine if it's a seller's market? So first of all, there is no deals in a seller's market. So it's just fair market value. So if you see a home and you're thinking, oh, I want $50,000 to $100,000 off the home, not in a seller's market. In a seller's market, most likely it would sell for fair market value. Good properties sells quickly in a seller's market. There will be multiple offers, about 15 to 20% of the time in a seller's market, and the average appreciation is in between 5 to 10% annually. And of course, that would depend on the area and the condition of which a property is in. But basically, 5 to 10% per year of increase in sale in average prices would mean you are in a seller's market. And of course, in Toronto, we've been seeing much more than 5 to 10% increase annually. And so 1 out of 2 to 3 homes for sale. And again, if there are 2 to 3 homes for sale, one of them gets sold. That means most likely you were in a seller's market. So here is a graph showing listing versus sales. So basically, the blue is everything that has been sold, and the red is everything that that's on the market. Right? And so the lighter colors you can see is the numbers for last year in 2021, and the darker color here would be in this year. So let me see if I can blow it up a little bit so you guys can have a better view. Right? How's that? Is that a little bit better? No, maybe a little bit more. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So if we take a look at last month, because May is not finished yet, so we're going to look at April of last month. And so we had this about, looking at the graph here, what are we at? Almost 1,300 properties on the market, and about 8,500 sold. And of course, this looks like, like 1 out of 2 homes were sold. So last month we were in a seller's market. Let's take a look at last year in 2021. There were actually more homes that are sold than there was on the market. And you're wondering, well, how does that happen? Like, did someone, like 2 people bought a property? Well, no. So this means that they have overtaken properties that were left over in the market. So these are properties that came on the market each month, and then these are one that's sold for each month. So it looks like last year, they bought everything that came on the market and then some more that was left over from last month. So you can see that there. And so last year in March in 2021, that was pretty crazy again. Look at that. This year in March, we were doing, still crazy. Not as crazy last year, but looks like the inventory is just not enough for everybody to buy. And so that's why you've been hearing all the multiple offers, all the price increase. It's just that there were more buyers than sellers. And so that hence you would be in a seller's market. So let me just turn this back over here so we can go to the next slide. I should figure out how to do the next slide by hand, right? Oh, okay, let's do this. Here we go. So the next slide talks about a buyer's market, because everyone right now is like, oh my goodness, aren't we in a buyer's market right now? Right? And we're like, well, okay, let's take a look. If we are, let's see if the condition fits to see if we are currently in a buyer's market. So here we are. In a buyer's market, there are more homes on the market than there are buyers, right? Prices tend to be lower because, of increase in supplies. So real estate is about supply and demand, right? If there are more supplies, right, then there is demand, then we most likely would be in a buyer's market. Homes in a buyer's market are more likely to sit unsold. So a lot of them would be sitting unsold for months. So I wasn't selling real estate in 1993. I don't think I was old enough to get a license in 1993. But so I've heard about this, market from all the older real estate agents, and they've shared their experience. So basically, back then, homes would sit on the market for 6 months, 9 months. You would take a listing for a year, right? People would sign for a year, not how it is right now. People would sign for 3 months. Back then, you would sign for a year and you hope to sell it within 6 months. So that's what it looks like when a house sits on the market and it doesn't sell. Not like today, when you sit on the market for 30 days and you're like, oh my God, my house isn't selling. 30 days compared to 6 months is a world of a difference, right? So so far, I don't know about you, but today's market does not really sound like a buyer's market, right? Because we're not being unsold for 6 months. Housing surplus can be slow rising price and even lead to price reduction. So yes, in a buyer's market, instead of having price increased, prices slowly decrease, right? So for example, if you bought a condo at $500,000 and then 3 months later you close it, you're gonna find that it's not worth $500 no more. It's gonna be worth $490. Not a fun market to buying at home. Imagine you paid $500,000 and then by the time you close it, it's worth $10,000 less than what you bought. Not really fun, right? Whereas today, if you were to buy at $500,000, by the time you close, you probably made some money. It's probably worth $510, right? Let's see here. What else is there? Buyers has more choices and more leverage in negotiation. So that's why it would be called a buyer's market, because buyers will have the upper hand. If listings were sitting there for 6 months, and a buyer comes in, they have the upper hand. They're going to negotiate every terms and condition that they want. And that's what it looks like in a buyer's market. And today, as you know, so is that on my slides? Yeah. So as in the market we have today, homes are selling less than a month. Yes, they're not selling in 1 or 2 days, because really 1 or 2 days being on the market and being sold is really unhealthy. Now we're coming back to a normal seller's market instead of a crazy seller market. So that's what it feels like to be in a buyer, seller, or a balanced market. Hopefully these little tips will help you understand of what kind of market is out there, because I know a lot of news out there, they're just talking about, oh, it's a buyer's market. Even some agents who don't know what it means to be in a buyer's market are also saying that it's a buyer's market. But trust me, homes aren't sitting there for 6 months. Will it? Who knows? We would have to wait and see if homes do sit there for 6 months to figure out if we are in a buyer's market. And remember, even if it sits there for a long time, all the other things has to kind of also be true, like prices dropping year over year, right? As the slide let's go back to that slide. I didn't explain to you the graph. So here you can see, I wasn't finished with this graph, that's right. So in the buyer's market, you can see that 1 out of 6 to 7 homes sell. So meaning when there are 7 signs on the lawn, only 1 of them sells. So that means we're probably in a buyer's market. As you can see, 1993 here, the red, meaning everything that's on the market. And then the blue is what's sold that month, right? And you can see the surplus of inventory. And so that's what a buyer's market look like. And if you go back to the slide, that let's see here, let's go back to the slide that was talking about today's market. Where is it? This is today's market, right? I'll just do this, just zoom in here. There we go. Today's market, it looks nothing like it. Not even close, right? The difference between the red bar and the blue bar is like almost like very, very close. Like this blue bar here has to be down here in order for it to be a buyer's market, right? If this happens in August and September, then you would know it's a buyer's market. So anybody who's waiting to buy a home, then you should jump on buying a home, right? We would be in a buyer's market. For today, for April at least, we are in a seller's market. So again, I hope that helps clear up some questions that you may have about what market we're in and what real estate market we're in and what buyer market means, what seller market means, and all that stuff. So that's about it for today. If you have any questions about the slides, or you want me to go through it a little bit more, or you have questions of a particular area that you want to talk about, just let me know, comment below, DM me for any other questions you may have. And that's about it for today. So thanks again for joining. Thanks again for listening. You can catch this video on YouTube if you like. Posted it there too, so replay to easier to find. If you go over to YouTube, you'll also find all the other videos that I have, all nicely organized. Because I know on Facebook you kind of got to scroll around looking for what you may need, but on Facebook you'll be easier to see it because it's all like organized out. So that's all for today. I will see you guys tomorrow with a new topic. And if you have any questions again, let me know. I'll see you next time. Bye.